Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review. I'm here today to talk to you about, did the MCU ruin the Kingpin's image? So, most people know by now the sixth episode has the Kingpin in it. And he went up against Kate Bishop and he lost. And so, in just this short amount of time, the fan base is slightly divided. You have some people who feel like it was the most perfect thing ever. Him being in there, like everything about him was perfect. Those are mostly the fanboys and the fangirls saying that, because even if they see a flaw, they refuse to say anything about it. And they're just so happy and thrilled that the dude is back, and Daredevil and Kingpin are now in the MCU. And I don't blame them. Then you have other people who are kind of just like, oh, this totally taints his image, and he's a shell of his former self and all this other stuff. Then you have people like myself who feel as though he still acts the same exact way he does, but he has been slightly MCU-fied. Not fully MCU-fied, but just like slightly in everything. And I say slightly because, like I said before in my finale review, the dude didn't miss a beat. Like in the early beginnings, he was the Netflix Daredevil Kingpin. You know what I'm saying? Like the way he talked, the way he acted. And throughout the entire time, he was that same person, felt like it, until he changed outfits. When he changed outfits, then all of a sudden, there was a new vibe going on with him. And the things that happened with him is kind of like, it's a little unbelievable. They went the very comic book route with him. Let me explain a little further. So he comes in his regular suit outfit and he's being his gangster self. And he has a cane. It's nice seeing the cane. It's very much from the comic books and also the animated series. And so, like, when he started talking and he started interacting with people, he did not miss a beat. He just wasn't as ruthless as he was before. Then he had a costume change. Now, the outfit he wore, I have criticized. He's wearing his same white suit, but underneath it, he's wearing a red Hawaiian shirt. I think it's tacky. I think it's ugly. It's not doing it for me. However, that outfit is 100% comic book accurate. And so a lot of people appreciate that. I saw online that it's comic book accurate. That's one thing about these Disney shows. They try to be as comic book accurate as they can to outfits and this and that. And so that was the first problem I had with him, that he got MCU-fied. I feel like they brought, because MCU-fied, what I mean that he got MCU'd, it's bringing on the gooberish humor, the childish humor, the baby humor, that all the MCU properties seem to have, because they think they're Jon Favreau and Josh Whedon, and they think they all have to write like them. And they haven't got out that little funk yet. And so that was the first. I felt like verbally he was still his awesome self, but outfit wise he got MCU-fied. But then, as I started watching more, and he got into that fight with Kate Kane, I'm just like, this dude is fighting very comic book accurate too, unlike the Daredevil series. What I mean by that is, for those of you who don't know about the Kingpin, in the comic books, he's a very large man. He's basically just a big fat man. But he's not fat as in blubbery type. No. See, he's about 500 pounds, but about, I'll say 70, 80, maybe even 90% of his body is muscle. So he's basically a giant boulder of a man. And nothing can really hurt him that much. He can withstand a lot of pain. He can, in the comic books, Echo shot him and he recovered from that. And it's just like it's really hard to like take him down and stuff. And that's what they did in the finale. She shot him multiple times in the chest with arrows, like at least twice. And it didn't phase him. He took an arrow to the chest. It didn't even phase him. There was no blood. There was no nothing. And so, like, then he gets hit head on by a speeding car. And he's able to get up from that within like moments and stuff. And that didn't even like cripple him. Then he took an explosion dead on, face on, body on, a huge explosion. Didn't even blow up. No limbs flew off, no blood, no nothing. And it's just like a couple of minutes after that, he got up and ran off. Then he got shot by Echo, but he got shot off screen because this is Disney Plus and they're afraid to show blood. That's why in phase 2, they kept doing this whole recurring gag of like Star Wars, and they kept chopping off people's hands as a reference to Luke Skywalker getting his hand chopped off, and of course Anakin and stuff. And when they kept doing that, there was never no blood. And so I'm just like, this very well might not be the Netflix version of the Kingpin. This could just very well be the MCU version of it and stuff. And that is slightly disappointing because the Netflix one is beyond perfect. Now, a lot of people hate the Kingpin from the Daredevil movie because one, he's black, and two, well, that's really the only reason why. I don't have a problem with him being black. That was a different version. He was more gangster than he was mafia. But he was still a large, muscular man, and he was still ruthless and everything. He was just a slightly bit like sarcastic, smart mouth type, but he was still ruthless. And, you know, but then of course, the one from the Netflix show is perfect because he's very dark. He's very gritty. And he is spine tingling and stuff like that. Like you are literally terrified of this man when he's in the room with somebody. Like you can feel it through the computer screen or like through your TV. And the moment he gets mad, you know that person is gonna die from his bare hands. And so that version was not here in like the in the MCU. This one got mad, and of course he does what he always does, hire people to kill folks. And he got so mad, he went after Kate's mom, Eleanor, ripped the door off, and he was ready to like strangle her, but Kate like interfered and stuff. And then he started tossing Kate around, who's only like 90 pounds. And so it's kind of like, I don't know, man. I just feel like his reputation kind of got tarnished a little bit, you know what I'm saying? With the whole him being invulnerable, like they went the very comic book route, which I do appreciate, but it was to the point of laughable. It's like nothing hurt this man. And it's kind of like, in the Netflix show, he did wear clothes that was designed like out of Kevlar or a special type of like strong silk or something like that. But he still was able to get like harmed. Like they're pretty much bulletproof, right? But then the arrow, it don't explain why the arrow just didn't bounce off him. It went straight through him and everything. And so it couldn't have been Kevlar. But, and then of course, why didn't his face and hands get messed up during the explosion? And so I think about this one scene, this one glorious scene from the Netflix Daredevil season 3. And this is why I feel like it got tarnished a little bit, his reputation. Think of it like this. Think of it as like, say, a wrestler in a company, and then he gets released from the company. He goes to a different company. They don't know what to do with him, and then they ruin him. Think of like, say, Bret Hart. He was big in WWE. He went to WCW. They didn't know what to do with him, and it ruined him. Think of Diamond Dallas Page, he was big in WCW, went to WWE, ruined his career. So it's kind of somewhat similar. This is kind of the point I'm trying to make. So let's get to the scene I'm talking about in Daredevil. It pops up on my YouTube every once in a while, so I end up watching it. And when I watch it, I've been watching it a lot recently. And when I do watch it, I tend to like repeat it a couple of times before I start watching it. And then I'll go to it back a couple of days later or a week later, and I'll watch it again a couple more times because it's a very cool scene. So it's the last ending fight. Bullseye has been taken down, and now it's just Kingpin and Daredevil. Daredevil's in his black suit because Bullseye was in his red one. Or was it velvet? It looked more velvet in the Netflix show than it did on red. Then they're constantly punching each other, right? Now the Kingpin was wearing all white. His home is all white. He has a white picture, like a painting picture on the behind him. It's just a white blank canvas and everything, right? Daredevil was punching the crap out of him so hard that blood is literally spewing left and right from the Kingpin as he's getting punched. His now white, well, he's not wearing the suit part. He took the suit part off. Now he's just wearing the shirt and the vest and the tie. His white outfit is stained with his blood. You can see a reddish orange kind of color, right? Almost like Daredevil is painting on him. Then when you look behind the Kingpin, that canvas I was talking about, that blank canvas, it is now splattered with blood. Like somebody painted on it. Like, God, who's that dude who, was it Andy Warhol, I think? I can't remember who it was. He just took like paint. He just started like splashing it like on the canvas and everything, making them little dots. That's what it looked like. It's a cool scenery. Like they really built up the atmosphere of what's going on. And he's just wailing on him left and right. Blood is gushing through his face. It's an intense fight. The only thing, and I do mean the only thing that stopped it, because Daredevil was going to break his one rule and kill Fist until Vanessa stopped him. And then he tells Vanessa, like, stay out of this. And then he starts trying to punk out Daredevil, tell him, like, come on, man, kill me and everything. Because he's trying to, like, break Daredevil or try to make Daredevil a murderer so everybody can hate him even more. See, at this point in time, I think he was running for mayor. And then he kept framing Daredevil for all this stuff. And then next thing you know, so, you know, he's trying to, like, Daredevil trying to clear his name. He also knows his secret identity. And then he could tell him, like, come on, do it. And then Daredevil, he snaps out of it and he tells him, no, like, I'm not going to kill you. Because he's not going to give the Kingpin what he wants. He told the Kingpin, you don't decide what goes on with me like I do and stuff like that. And then something about like he proved that this city no longer wants the Kingpin, that it chewed him up and spit him out. And that Daredevil defeated him. And he literally tells him over and over, I defeated you. I defeated you. And then he takes his mask off of Daredevil so Kingpin can get really good look at his face as blood is dripping from his nose and stuff. And he tells him plain and simple. He lays down the law to the Kingpin. And he tells him exactly what's going to go on. He tells him straight on that Kingpin is going to keep his secret and he's not going to tell nobody, and that he's never, ever, ever going to mess with his friends, Froggy or Karen. And he even goes further, tell him you ain't going to mess with nobody in the city, because if you do, I will go after your wife. And then that makes me think, oh crap, is he going to kill the wife? Well, no, wait, he doesn't kill. But no, see, the wife killed somebody. And then they covered it up. And so he tells him straight up, he's gonna go after her legally about the murder that she covered up and everything. and that she will be rotting in a jail cell alongside him and everything, and he will have nothing. The city doesn't want him. His wife will no longer want him. Nobody is gonna ever want him again. And then he puts on his mask, and then he steps back, and then he kind of like gets on his knees, almost like he's about to pray and everything. And then the kingpin looks at him with frustration and turns to Karen, and he tells Karen, "I have failed you. I could not give you what I wanted to give you and everything." That is one of the most powerful scenes like I've ever seen in anything. It gets you hype when you watch it. Nothing compares to that. And I mean absolutely nothing. Like it just, I can't even think of anything that can come close. Not Batman, not the Joker, and anything recently I've seen or in the past. Like nothing comes close to doing that. Not even that speech. Like it outdid the speech that Superman gave Darkseid in Justice League Unlimited in the finale and everything. Like it outdid that speech. And I'm just like, man, that was the way to go out, because of course Disney screwed everybody when they bought the rights back to Daredevil and stuff, and they got the Netflix show canceled. We would still be having Daredevil like season after season if it wasn't for that. But now we have him 5 years later, because that was the plan. After it got canceled, they weren't allowed to touch him until 5 years later. And so it's kind of like, even if it's not that version of the Kingpin and it's a different version, in our minds, we're still going to tell ourselves it's the one from the Netflix show. And it kind of taints that image that I just gave you and everything, of how the like 3 or even more than 3 years, like the whole saga between Daredevil versus the Kingpin ended and stuff. And now we know in the MCU, if this is the same dude, that he got taken out by a 90-pound woman because she tricked him with a trick arrow, and then he got hit by her mom by the car, and then he got shot by his adoptive daughter. And that kind of just taints the entire thing. Not because they're female, but because his ending in the MCU as of now is not as powerful as it was in the Netflix show. Like, come on, we know he's alive. I mean, come on, the dude took an explosion to the face. So again, shot ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's kind of like, even when he does survive, it's just kind of like, dude, you got whooped by a 70-pound 19 or 20-year-old. Like, no, I think she's 22. Yeah, you got whooped by like a 90-pound 22-year-old and stuff. And it's just kind of like, that's kind of pathetic. You know what I'm saying? And it's her first time being a hero. And so it's just kind of like, it taints that image that I remember of this dude, because Disney is Disney, and they're gonna goof troop things up just to make little kids laugh and all this other stuff. Like, there was no blood, there was no nothing. The dude gets shot in the chest with an arrow, there's no blood. And it's just like, because this is a Disney Plus show and they can't do stuff like that because they have to think about the little kids and everything. And it's just like, I was worried when, like, you know, he came, but then when he started talking, I was happy until he changed outfits. And it's kind of the same way it is with Spider-Man. Like, when Sony took over, I thought he was going to be cool. And then he was cool when he first showed up. And then they turned him into Iron Man Jr. Now, I have not seen the last 2 movies. So all I have to go by is the rest of those Avengers movies when he's acting all silly and goofy and everything. And everything takes him by surprise. And it's just kind of like, what's now going to happen when the X-Men show up? When the Fantastic Four show up? When Doctor Doom shows up? Like, what are they going to do? Like, how is Magneto going to act? He's going to be cracking jokes and everything? Is Doom going to be cracking jokes? And I mean, I haven't seen What If, and I haven't seen Loki yet. But I know Kang the Conqueror showed up in Loki, I heard. And from what I've heard, he's silly and goofy. I believe Lady Hydra showed up in the Falcon and Winter Soldier. I have to look up the person that one lady played. And if that is her, they played her as a joke. And I'm just like, no, Lady Hydra's a whole lot tougher than that, if that is Lady Hydra and stuff. And it's just kind of like, it just makes you wonder what they're gonna do to Daredevil. Cause I mean, that like hardcore, dark, gritty version we got in Netflix, it might not be that way in the MCU. He might be fluffed. You know what I'm saying? Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.